We would like to put that context to life sciences and how things are moving in the life sciences industry. I would now request some of our panel members to come on stage, please, as we go along through this discussion. So it's beyond the lab. So we've seen the lab. So we are now looking at what happens on the ground. So may I request Bhupesh to come on stage? Bhupesh, AWS. He's been anywhere, please. Bhupesh works with AWS, partners with Agilisium on multiple initiatives. 5 years with AWS now, obviously has seen the change that is happening in the life sciences industry. And I'm sure his perspective will be fantastic for all of us to hear. So Bhupesh, welcome. We will now request Chunky to come on stage. Come in, Chunky. Please take a seat. Chunky comes from an advisory organization by the name of Everest Group. It is one of the largest advisory companies out of the US. The work that Chunky and his colleague CJ are working on is to help organizations identify challenges, obviously create business cases around it, create frameworks so that they can implement it better. They also bring in market intelligence, market understanding of how other organizations are undertaking innovation and challenges, how they're solving it. So I'm sure it will be great to have Chunky. He specializes in life sciences vertical, so we'll throw some challenges at you during the discussion as well. So I'm sure it will be fantastic for having a conversation. May I now request Lokesh to come in? Come in, Lokesh. Anywhere? Lokesh is the Chief Operating Officer at Agilisium. 25 years with Cognizant, built the entire practice of life sciences with them, and now bringing all the learnings from that organization. Of course, certain things that have moved, have changed, and that's the benefit that Lokesh will now bring on the table for Agilisium. If you'll see, this is a panel which is curated in such a way that it will bring in a lot of aspects. So there is a technology company, that is the platform that a lot of companies use today. We have got the advisory community represented by Chunky, will bring in market perspective. A technology service provider, a solutions provider, innovation provider. But all of us work for whom? The customer, right? So may I now request Mr. Vijay Sethi to come on stage. Thank you. And obviously, if the customers, and represented by Vijay in this case, if they believe in what has been showcased, if they believe in co-innovation, they will go forward and actually take those steps. So it is not only about showcasing something on the slide and not actually going into action. I've known Vijay for a long time, and he's a leader in the technology industry, having worked with Ranbaxy for a long time, and the last role that he played was the CIO of Hero MotoCorp. Not only as a technology leader, but also as a CSR leader and the HR leader. As I was mentioning when I was introducing in the morning, Vijay comes from a very esteemed background. He thinks not only about his company, but he also thinks about the industry. So a lot of organizations do come to him for help and guidance, and we are hoping that today he will also share some of his perspectives with us. So thank you, everyone. So we've now, before we get started, a quick time check. Vijay has to leave us in some time for him to catch a flight. I think Umesh, you and Vijay would be leaving us at possibly just about 3 o'clock or just before 3 o'clock, right? So we will try and use some amount of time to get all his perspectives before that, while the other panel members can request to continue to be with us for some more time beyond that. Is this okay? Are we comfortable? Sure. Yeah. Yes, of course, please. Yeah. So in the meantime, the whole idea of the topic was is the transformative role that AI is playing or is expected to play in various industries, but more specifically in the life sciences industry. AI is good and bad. as we all know. But, but there are certain challenges which are at world scale which no longer can be solved if you do not bring data into play. And that is something that we feel that has to be brought in the forefront as we go along in advancing our innovations to the market. I'm going to request each one of you to give your opening comments, opening concepts. What is it that's going in your mind right now with regards to AI and life sciences, and we'll take it from there. Let's start with Vijay.
Sure.
Yeah, you already have that.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. Putting a lot of
Can you guys hear him?
me.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. See, let's first start with basics. For me, I see AI differently from what you might be thinking. So most of the people perhaps rightly think AI is artificial intelligence. For me, it's not really artificial intelligence, and everyone pointed out. For me, it's augmented intelligence. So which means that basically, if you look at any activity being done, whether in life sciences or any industry, the people, human beings which have been doing it, but what these tools are really going to do is augment the intelligence or augment the work that's being done. Coming back to life sciences, as I personally think, life sciences is one industry that touches each and every human being on earth. Each and every living being, I won't say just a human being, but every. And so that's where, if we can use technology, that is the best thing that we can do to this mankind. Whether it is drug discovery, whether it is clinical trials, we saw some of things, whether it is patient care, in each aspect, to my mind, artificial intelligence, especially data actually plays a huge role, and if you can get good quality data, ensure that the quality of data is good, do a lot of simulations in the entire thing, and then come back with maybe better drugs, personalized drugs. I don't know, maybe many of you are from life sciences, but to me, for example, when I think of a 3D printed vein of a person, now, who could have imagined maybe till a couple of years back that the science, and you use tons of AI into the entire thing. Heart, okay, one part, but your blood and the skin and all these things when you get into. So AI is playing a huge role. Some of the other technologies, for example, all these big or so-called major issues like cancer and some of the other things, and I do have some personal family members also went into those things. But the role which AI can play in this, especially from a data analysis perspective, can you do predictive? Can you really predict, for example, that someone is going to fall? Or we had COVID recently. Can AI be used to predict COVID? Could it have been used? So you have tons of data which is floating around, but can it be done? The next wave would come, not come. So to my mind, life sciences and AI, or I won't just say AI, but the entire deep tech. So it's not just one technology, but multitude of technologies. Some of them we saw today, but there are various other technologies, is going to change the world. But one controversial statement, I'll again keep it over here, as I spoke about augmented. To my mind, what is being done, with due respect to everybody, today we are just scratching the surface. We are not really utilizing, Indian industry is not really utilizing the power of deep tech or AI today. We're just maybe starting. One can always say that yes, a start has to be made, and I believe in that start has to be made someday. But if the pace of adoption of some of these technologies can be enhanced, it will be good for all of us, personally, for each one of us. I'll just stop there.
Which is brilliant. This reminds, some of the points that you made. One, augmented intelligence, that's a brilliant point, and we'll delve deeper into that. But the point on India's role, not only in the life sciences industry, but also in the deep tech industry, and how we actually take a pole position. We have an opportunity in front of us as Indian companies and Indian talent. We all say it's the decade of India that is coming up, possibly 2 more decades or 3 more decades of India now. We got to leverage this as an industry and force ourselves, push the envelope of innovation that is coming out of India. In fact, only in the morning, me and Raj were speaking exactly on this topic. And his point of view was, why is India only a talent supplier? Why is India only a supplier, maybe a manufacturing supplier? Why is it not an innovation hub for most companies globally? And let's start that today, right? Let's put some seeds today on that journey. I'm sure a lot of people will join us along the journey as we go along. So it was fantastic. Thank you very much, Vijay, for that opening remarks. Chunky?
Yeah, so I think as an analyst, people expect you to be pessimistic, right? But I, for one, am very optimistic about the potential of AI in life sciences. But I would also agree to Vijay, right, that I feel we are still scratching the surface, right? But I think talking about the potential, right? So one of the things that I've seen in the last few years is conversations have changed from, or the question has changed from, is there potential, to the question is now value, right? Where are we seeing value? How can we accelerate that? How can we reduce time to value? So I think this is the fundamental change that I've seen, and we see that around us, right? Particularly in R&D, right? There's a thriving ecosystem of players focused on, again, tackling some of these problems using technology. So I'm very optimistic, right? But as I said, right, we are still scratching the surface. And if you think about the journey that we've taken as an industry, we've moved from paper to product. Now we're moving into platforms, right? We have digitized a lot of our processes in the last, say, 2 decades, right? We've used products to gather that information. And as we've done that, we have recognized that there's a problem, right? That we have data, but the data is stored in different systems. We have connected all of the devices, but every device has a different format. And I think now I see a lot of organizations trying to move to that platform vision, that how can we make sure that all of that data is in one place. And I think once we do that, the pace of change, the time to value, I think that will start to significantly come down. So yeah, I think I'm very optimistic, but I do think that we've just barely started scratching the surface.
Yeah, absolutely. And value, we need to question why, right? So before we say what and how, we have to say, why should I even do this? Is there value that my partners, the stakeholders can get out of it? So we start with that question of why. Obviously, value will become integral part of everything that we do as an industry and as a company. And time to value will become very critical parameter or a KPI for us to measure and then obviously improve as we go along in this journey. Thank you, Chunky. Bhupesh.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for giving me this opportunity to share my views. So yeah, we are customer obsessed. It all starts working backwards from customers. You would have all heard stats. I may be too new to the industry, but still, like 9% of the drugs actually reach the market. Many fail the clinical trial stage itself. The efficiencies at the life sciences industry is around 30 to 70%. In US alone, it's a $65 billion loss. Bringing this all together, AI will play and is playing a big role in the life sciences industry as of now, as we speak. So I handle the technology partners for healthcare life sciences in AWS. All of them are only focusing on how can we use this AI technology and improve our customers' efficiency, can transform them. So life sciences needs a lot of transformation. Right from the drug discovery process till the commercialization and then the post-clinical trials, everywhere AI is playing a big role. We at AWS are just empowering our partners to build the best of the best solutions, like selecting the right molecule. There is a lot of machine learning required in it. Millions of molecules are there. Which one is the best and will create the largest impact? Creating the right patient set, right cohort, right area where this clinical trial has to be done. Machine learning plays a big role there. Computer vision to enhance your factory efficiencies, logistical supply chains, a big role of AI there. And similarly, many other. Post it reaches the clinical phase, doing patient interaction, recording all those patient adverse effects. Everything can be automated. So basically relieving a lot of heavy lifting, which can be automated, is the real role that AI can play, and that is the real value which it can drive. And that's my view.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much. I'll bring Lokesh in as well, and then we'll again, bring up some of these topics back to the conversation, because you were also actually alluding to the same point that Vijay was mentioning, that it's augmented intelligence rather than only just an artificial intelligence. Because the work that AWS and similar partners are undertaking today is augmenting and empowering the industry to do far more things than what they were supposed to or able to do earlier. Lokesh?
Thank you, Sandy. I think everybody has covered that, but maybe some things that we can explore is the dimensions. If you look at it, right, nobody's questioning whether AI is valuable to the life sciences industry or not. But it didn't happen so far, or people are still believing that it is only scratching the surface because of multiple reasons, if you were to just think about it, right? The first is that the kind of data that was required and part of it was there in this pharma world, but it was unstructured, lying several, and the kind of intelligence that was required from AI perspective is also, I mean, like, you required a lot of specialists to be able to process that data part of it. And if you look at it, what has happened, that data has got significantly digitized and it is available in a much, much better format in the last few decades. AI has evolved and it says that, hey, I don't need so much human reliance and I think I can do a far better job, and that's why generative AI is starting to come into play. And I think we are going to leapfrog it right now, while people are still thinking that, hey, we have just touched the surface, but I think we are at that cusp moment where actually leapfrogging is about to happen. Because three things have come into play. There is so much power that, I mean, like, we don't need so much of analytics or industry leadership. Yes, that is required, but I think AI is going to say, I can pick it up so much of your load that I can do that. And second, the data availability itself. Because such a power is available, people are going after all kinds of data to be captured and saying that, hey, I will enable this data if you think you can provide the returns. So scanners, visions, audios, you're going to capture whatnot data to power this. So you're just at the...
So leapfrogging into the next orbit, but it's an interesting point that you mentioned, Lokesh, and it brings to me, and I'm going to request some of the audience members also to contribute on this. Will AI replace humans in research, in drug discovery? Anyone wants to? Yes. Maybe you'll get a mic or. Oh, okay. Maybe we'll request you to just say, introduce yourself so that everyone gets the context and then respond to that, please.
Yeah, hi, I am Dr. Prashant. So I represent Himalaya in the discovery and also in the consumer experience, wherein which a lot of we are trying to bring in AI, of course. Yeah, I'm not trying to say that AI will replace. Ultimately, what you need to feed in to create an AI is coming definitely from the human mind. So that is something which is not replaceable at all, not indispensable at all, right? So AI can, I would say that is more like in assisting, and I would say that in gaining better insights and more speed to market, right? Anything you want to bring in fast, yes, AI can be used as a tool. So it's a tool, for me it's a tool.
Sure. No, this is of course, the broader understanding or the broader, that it's a tool, it augments our capability. Anyone else from the audience? Yes, Dr. Ujjwala. Can you get the mic, please?
See, AI is very important because, we can speed up things, and bring more transparency. Because, right now we are practicing the trend like paperless trial. So these paperless trial brings more transparency, and somehow, it will transform into AI. But it will never replace human. I think, more power, more human power, will require.
It will never replace humans. That's the message that I'm getting. Vijay?
I think the question that he has. No, it's not a question. I think
Yes,
I
please.
have a contrary view.
Yes, of course. Please introduce yourself so that,
My name is Sandeep Atle. I represent Biocon Biologics.
Yes.
I think if you look at what the capabilities are today, and it is not unbelievable that it can actually replace humans. It can. And I think that the size and the scope of what it could do is certainly not humanly possible. So I think it does have the potential, but I think there are other factors that we are talking about today, which are, we'll be basically controlling how it grows and how we utilize. And I think that will restrict it, and to what you said is it will be augmenting things. But if you want, it can replace. But you would use it in such a way that most likely it will be controlled.
Control. Can you control?
Beyond a point you can't really control. And to my mind, at
there will be some jobs which will be replaced. I won't say that it won't replace. There will be some jobs it will be replaced, maybe low-end jobs it will replace, but high-end jobs could be better.
We'll not allow it to replace.
The humans won't allow them to. Okay.
But I just wanted to comment on one point which Lokesh said. Technology, I 100% agree. Data, I 100% agree. But one of the key reasons, as I feel, why many companies have not been able to utilize, which is a third pillar. You spoke about two, you didn't talk about a third one. To me, the third pillar is culture of the organization. Are you really ready to be a data-driven organization? Or you still feel that I have been in industry for 26 years and I know this molecule will do only this? How the hell can a computer tell me what needs to be done? So where is the AI part? I have entire intelligence. I don't want it to be augmented at all or made an artificial. I think that culture change also has to be brought in to really make AI deep into organizations. And to me, that really is a major bottleneck, not just in pharma industry, but almost all industries.
Totally agree, sir. I think there what's going to actually happen is the David versus Goliath story is going to happen, right? Where the biggies are going to continue thinking like that way, but the smaller companies which really don't have that much manpower, they are going to go for any kind of resource mindset. And they are not constrained by that mindset. They are just going to go after that AI. They are going to leverage that AI and they are going to bring advancement, which will force the David as well to come back and say, okay, fair.
I think one of the things that we often miss is that there's always going to be a human component, right? So think about someone who's working on a molecule, working on a clinical trial, right? There's obviously a sense of bias that they would have. I think what AI and data can do is it can provide you with more transparency so that it begs the question that, hey, if we say that this molecule should go from phase 2 to phase 3, is it an emotional decision because you're so invested in it? Maybe it's a molecule that hasn't been acquired, right? So, but you might have data or you might have an analysis throw up a different picture. So I think because we don't operate in a very objective world, there will always be that human component. But again, data and AI can force you to think about the questions and answer the questions that you're not answering.
Yeah, I mean,
Can I add one point, Sandy?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so basically, continuing the same, we are seeing the lower spectrum of the jobs being taken up by AI, like studying an EHR and highlighting an anomaly. Like I know from some cancer institute, there is also representation here, studying the X-ray and identifying the real issue. Such things are being taken up by AI, and then the human element. AI is prone to inherent biasism. It will bias because of the training which has gone in, and it doesn't understand the real world problem actually. And hence we see that the human is important. So AWS is doing a very, very responsible take at the AI. We have human in the loop for all services, AI services that we have. So a sample of jobs can be triggered through a human in the loop who can keep monitoring the output efficiency of the AI model and can retune it. So that's where we get that control and don't allow AI to take over, and also use it where it's necessary.
Yes, there is. Yeah. Go ahead, Sandeep, and afterwards.
Okay.
You have the mic, so you have the
yeah,
right.
Okay, thank you. No, I just wanted a follow-up question to what you said, and this is actually I'm really curious to know your views. As I understand, AI and all the outputs, Gen AI, is all based on a tremendous amount of data that exists. That data is created by humans, and it has all the errors and biases within it. So how do you imagine to bring that objectivity that you think with these tools? Because it is based on data that is already biased. So this is the piece that I've not been able to get a good answer.
That's a major fallacy with AI today. There's huge amount of bias that can be built, both in the data and in the algorithms that you write. So if I think that way, I'll write algorithms accordingly. I'll put the data accordingly. So that's a major constraint today. And 100% agree with you, sir.
But I think it's going to quickly get resolved.
Yeah, as of today, it's there.
It's a cyclic learning. See, the best part that you're forgetting is these algorithms are self-learning. They learn. And while the bias is being introduced by one set of a group, there's another group, which is the moment they're going to start using it, they're going to neutralize the bias very, very quickly, and it's going to learn that
Correct.
this is what it is. So,
May I request the member You just introduce yourself again, please. Sorry, I'm asking everyone to do that, but
Hi, this is Ashish. So on that point, see, AI will come with its biases. It will throw out output. One element which is still very, very important is humanizing the output, right? You will not be able to use the output for very, very complex tasks as is. There is an element of humanizing which is still required, because you cannot tomorrow run a investor summary. AI will do it for me, and it will also preempt what questions can come. That's the reason there is a board and a CEO. You'll have to humanize the output. That's very, very important. Another thing which AI cannot do, in fact, the panel themselves answered, is AI cannot create culture, form, reform, norm the culture, right? That's something that humans are in the value chain. That's where humans are right at top of the value chain. These 2
no,
points.
you've actually picked up the point that I wanted to ask the panel. How do you create the culture? Now we know that you have to humanize the output. It is important that you put together. Culture is the biggest reason for AI to deliver what it needs to be delivered for the industry. But how do you really go about doing it in a fast evolving industry and business? Also, because if you look at culture today is an Instagram culture, right? So how do you create that culture? I mean, you've done this multiple times, so maybe you can help us understand
To
this.
me, the basic principle is culture always flows from top. You can't ask a guy who's at the shop floor to say, or on the lab to say that let's change the culture. Till the time the guy at the top says that yes, I am getting to data driven. I am not asking you to send me a PowerPoint which has all those 5 graphs. Let's go into a system, analyze the data. Let me ask you a few questions. Show me the real-time dashboards. You do it twice, your data gets corrected. Because first day when you put the data in Excel file or put it on PPT, they can show anything and everything. It doesn't help anyone. But he says, forget, even if the data is wrong, first 3 presentations it will be wrong, fourth meeting, it goes. And everyone in the company knows that this guy now is actually wanting to make the organization data driven. My decisions are now being based on the data, not on this. Of course, augmenting. So I see all the analysis. I might add my own intelligence. That's augmented intelligence part of it. But at least I'm giving due credit to the data where it's due. That's where the culture starts. I'll just stop there.
Sure.
Others can add to this.
Yeah, Lokesh, you want to add you've built a life sciences practice for a large company, and you've also dealt with many organizations who have implemented solutions. It may not be AI, but innovation, change has been a big part of the journey that you've been involved in.
See, I think that's where the value play itself has to come in, right? See, I think the question itself whether AI will replace humans is not the right question, right? The right way to think is, will AI replace current sum of activities and jobs that we do? Yeah, maybe yes, it is going to, but humans are going to be there. Life, we are humans, we are the life, so AI will never have its life. So we will evolve to do better things, more purposeful things, more value-added things, and as long as that culture is seeded, that hey, okay, why we are telling you to do this? Why not? Why leverage the AI? Because you can do a far better valuable work than doing that what is repetitive. AI will replace largely the repetitive, the normal intelligence, but the thinking part, the futuristic part, we will have to move on to that.
One more point. I have the mic. AI can. Might as well take the chance.
Way to go.
Yeah. See, AI can, deliver the how of it. How do you do a thing, a task, right? The why of it still has to be answered by a human, right? AI is not going to teach us why to do a task.
Yes, Raj.
See, I think many times the fear of like AI is going to replace humans, I think it's double-fold, right? We want actually AI to replace humans, right? We want. But where is the question, right? Like for example, there are jobs where many of us think, hey, there can be machines doing those jobs. We don't want humans doing that. You want AI to replace those things, right? So definitely, I think we want AI to replace it. But good thing is AI is not going to go and eat your lunch and dinner, right? It's probably not interested. So that's going to leave it to you. So where humans being human part of being, I don't think, the essential human part AI is not going to come after. But
from a work point of view, what we are really talking about, the job part of it, right? The job that we have to do to the society so the society can run. How much of those jobs can be taken by the human? And when we are assuming that we will be jobless, come on guys, we had 400 years of technology. So many things improved. Nobody went completely jobless. We always find something better to do. So I think that part of it, AI, we don't need to fear. It's definitely go. And many people then they think, oh, we want the AI to do the mindless job. No, we want AI to do even intelligent job. Because for example, many of us have, how about if we can have a personal assistant who, from an investment point of view, based on your bank situation, personal situation, and investment situation, if it can genuinely give you a right insights what to do. We cannot have enough number of humans to help each other. No, that's practically impossible. But AI can do. Whether we are there today, probably not. But is that something we can envision and we should pursue? Definitely yes, like health advice and stuff. So we, like for example, one of the things we have developed, I was talking about is, US president has basically executive summary every day, right? I think every CEO and every executive should have a presidential summary, executive summary every day morning coming to them, right? We don't have any one person who can do that. But if you have AI properly set in the organization, that can happen. And we don't want reports. As you said, we want insights, which is insight telling that, hey, this is what you should do. I don't want you to read all the 100 reports. I'm not interested. But tell me 2 sentences which is of importance from me out of that 100 reports. Those kind of stuff AI can do. We are probably not there, but definitely we are in the beginning. I think we will evolve.
Thank you. Thank you, Raj. Yes, there is a comment. Yes.
I am Dr. Prabhudas. The moment I was given an invitation to attend this, I was just thinking whether the same question, whether AI is going to replace the doctors in the society or community. With that fear, I thought I will just come and see what's happening in AI. But you know what, when I go for the lectures, I used to comment about a particular experience or the reaction to action. You see a tree full of crows, you throw a stone at the tree, all the crows will fly away. You throw a stone at a group of dogs, all the dogs will run away. Among the tigers and lions, they will bounce back. But you believe it, you do one action to a group of these people, you say there is a snake. One person will run away, one person will want to see where is the snake. The other person, he is just bluffing, there is no, which means human mind doesn't react similarly to one particular action. That has only got so much of innovation and so much of invention and discovery that has happened over the years. If we would have thought the same, we would be all running with sticks and stones and we would be in the same primitive age. The sixth sense only has driven us to this particular level. And you have to believe the AI is just, like you said, self-correction. So the people on the top are manually, experience-wise, have self-corrected them and they are on the top. Who has to understand and accept the AI. The best easy method, which I have learned it because I have worked with a boss who has made a very huge empire, who is not well educated background. The best thing what I have learned with him is, make the boss understand the technology and the innovation in a simplified language in which he understands and takes a decision very easily. Sir, take this to this technology, this will do this, this will do that. Is it? Yes. Over. I have seen major decisions of crores and crores of money just made within fraction of a second because he believes in the person who don't try to explain the technology. That's why the culture will have a problem. Don't try to explain the PowerPoint to the big boss who is sitting there. Sir, this is the moment he tries, because human minds first tries to understand the image or the picture or the explanation. The moment you don't understand, the big boss will never ask, what is this? Because he is already a big boss. So he will say, no, yeah, I don't think. And he will wait for that one person who has a fear whether AI will replace. Sir, I think after all the 1 hour of presentation, that one person, that X will come and slowly whisper in the boss ears, sir, I think this will not work out. Correct. That's what I also thought. So close this out. So the moment that the X person comes out, the whole gang, the entire AI culture is going to fade away. So easiest method is make it simplified language so that the culture is made understandable by the big boss, and you have to wait for the lower level people to go up. For instance, for me, my chief who has taught me surgery is still operating. So he is 80 years of age, he is still operating. I'm 45, I'm still operating. So what I have to wait? I have to wait for a presentation where I can put a garland on his photograph and say he is my chief and make my ideas to implement. So we have to wait for the technology and the youngsters to come on that level where they are able to make a decision making. And make the person who is already in the level of making a decision easily understand AI so that he doesn't have any fear and he will immediately accept your deal, and the moment he accepts, everything will roll by. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. What? Yes, please.
Yeah, so I have one question to the panel. So, see, is it really that required, right? See, of course, as we all discussed, AI is a fantastic tool, for simplification and, analyzing big data and trying to make things easy for our lives and day-to-day things, right? So a question really arises in my mind is, do we really need to generate such complex data, right? So if there's a complex data, of course, it is humanly impossible to analyze, interpret, then we require technology to analyze it. So can AI, like what sir was telling, can it be really even used to simplify the way we looking at things or generating things, right? Rather than create complex things and try to make it simpler, can we make it simpler itself using AI as a tool?
Who would like to pick it up?
I can just give a very broad view. With simple things, with simple data, I think we can do only simple things. But here the question is about transformation, and running fast might be. And that's when, for example, precision medicine, gene therapy can't be done with simple formats, correct? It is a complex thing to do. And I think hence the relevance of AI to analyze complex jobs might be and have a mind of its own, derive intelligence. Very limited view that I have, but yeah.
So I have a two-part answers to this question, right? So if I were to come to a health part of it and the life sciences part of it, fully knowing the risk that I'm about to tell, it will put my job at threat, but still saying that it will be great if AI were to come at a preventive model where it says there's no health issue, so there's no need for analyzing any data, there's nobody falling sick. If AI can really validate itself to that kind of a level where it is driving so much preventive care, and that's what it is. That means it's reducing the need part of it. But there is so much other technology part, like if you want to reach to the Mars, to aspirations to go to planets far off, then we will need that complex data because those are humanly impossible to analyze all those aspects. So that's how I would put it. Complex tasks would require complex data.
Yeah, and I think across all fields, right? I think life sciences, healthcare, I think is one which is easier to understand, right? Because there are diseases that we don't have cures for. There are diseases that we are still not able to diagnose. So there is, and in every industry you will have that complexity, right? Where you know that by using these technologies, you can do today what we haven't been able to do. And in health and life sciences, I think it's an easier case because again, you're improving access to healthcare, you're helping people lead longer and more healthier lives. But even in other industries, right? So you talked about going to Mars, right? So, I mean, that's also for sustaining the human civilization, right? You might argue that that is something that we also need. So I feel across all industries, you will have those instances where we need we need that complex data and where we need tools like AI to be able to help us.
I think what the common theme is coming out of this conversation is it's actually not as much about data. It is about what do you do with that data, right? Is the insights, is the decisions that organizations or individuals are able to make. If that becomes complex, then no matter what you collect doesn't really matter. So it's actually decision making rather than data science. It's decision science rather than data science. I think that is something that is the common theme that is coming up. Amrut has a mic, so I'm sure you have, yeah.
No, I was just responding to the last question, but then I was reminded. So what Ashish said is, we are putting a human to announce the quarterly results or address the earnings call, instead of AI announcing the quarterly results. To that, my answer is, actually, the large tech is looking at avoiding a CEO phase. Because when the CEO comes on the mic and he puts his fingers like this, the AI reads that the results are going to be bad. Because last time, whenever he has put his hand here, the results were bad, right? So that's answer to you. Second, second thing for doctor, very good. I think whatever you spoke were wonderful. I was thinking that he has come here to see the potential patients for bariatric surgery. Coming to more nuanced version, the real question which he has asked, and I think I was discussing this with Sandy during the break, AI has to possibly solve for two things, to my mind. One, of course, the problems that all of us are discussing here. What is happening to 80-85% of the population? One is the affordability angle of it. In Mumbai, I have now 2 or 3 labs who are reading all the vitals through AI, and they are doing a predictive analysis. And they are telling you that whether you'll have cancer or retinopathy or whatnot. Everything they are predicting, and they're giving you years also. That if you are at this stage, possibly 15 years down the line, there's a chance of 62% predictability of you will have this disease. Now that test is today costing 15,000 rupees, right, for one disease. If I do it for 6, so you understand what I'm talking about. So it is beyond the reach of a normal Indian today in terms of the per capita. Second piece is, what language does the end user or the consumer understands? So today you have all the answers which are coming in a very complex way. I was talking to Sandy for my current problem is for my disease therapy, if I leave aside business from this room, forget about commercials, forget about business issues. If I had to solve a larger problem, and actually I told that problem to Sandy and I told him that you will get a Nobel Prize if you're able to solve this problem, right? Maybe we'll discuss with you, sir, later. But the point is, 80% of my patients are not able to converse in English. And the disease, the way the doctor has understood or read, is all in English. Diabetes is diabetes. मधुमेह किसी को समझ में नहीं आता है. हिंदी में भी नहीं समझा है. Now, how do I explain it in a language that he is able to decipher the meaning of this disease? Can AI help us solve that? What will be the complexity of not treating that patient over next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? The last piece is, since we have a colleague from Biocon, we are in the same field, diabetes. And I was telling this to Sandy also, there are only 5 companies worldwide who have worked on diabetes, especially in insulin's area, right? Now, why there are only 5 companies? Because it's a very, very complex product, extremely complex, very heavy capex. So your time to break even is pretty long. I also have worked with you in Ranbaxy. Having said that, the R&D pipeline, because Raj was, I think, talking about why innovation is not happening in India, why we are talent exporters, right? One of the reasons is that you are not able to put finance angle to it. Today, my company has been working for last 33 years, having spent billions of dollars, not millions, billions of dollars on R&D. And now I have a hope that I'm sure about one molecule which has gone into phase 3. But after millions of, possibilities that were worked out, can AI solve this? And can you remove the human angle to this? कि नहीं, मेरा bias ये है कि अभी जैसे Biocon में है, वो जब से मैं पैदा हुआ हूँ तब से सुन रहा हूँ, 25-27 साल हो गए इस इंडस्ट्री में, 27 years Biocon is working on oral insulin. And every time I hear, it's 3 years away, 5 years away, right? But it is difficult to make. So somewhere that human angle has to be completely removed. That part has to be completely removed. That it's not possible currently because of enzymatic reactions, so on and so forth and whatever. So spending money in that area may be a choice of a human being, but the machine tells you that no, you don't do it. For me, it can be antibiotic. For others, it can be cancer drug. That there are 10 different options to work on, but yes, 9 have to be out of window. इंडिया में आज तक क्यों नहीं हुआ है कोई भी रिसर्च मॉलिक्यूल? आपको तो मालूम है रेनवेक्स ने कितना खर्चा किया. हमने एक मलेरिया की गोली बनाई थी. आई एम जस्ट गिविंग यू एन एग्जांपल, एंड ही वाज देयर एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. You know why we could not commercialize this? The tablet size was like a laddu. We could not simply reduce the size of the tablet. And imagine companies spent millions of dollars on that, millions of dollars. We got the commercialized product, and it was solving the third world problem. I want to know from this group, I mean, you have all the wisdom in life sciences, is this problem solvable with AI?
It is now solvable. Sir.
Solvable?
It is going to become significantly, with the generative AI coming into the play, our ability to quickly connect all the dots and precisely telling that, hey, this is what I want you to research and work for, we are getting there. And that's what I tell, right? AI was not able to, so earlier if you think about it, right, AI's ability to say play chess, play Go, AI is what? But it still requires saying, I need time and I need that supporting intelligence also. But now with the generative AI, the game is different. The analogy at least that I correlate with others is AI has been there for a very long time. It's not new, right? We've all been aware. And it's like the phone technology. We are all used to the phone. But phone became a revelation the moment touch phone came in, smartphone came in. That's what generative AI is to AI itself. It is going to say what you are able to do with a phone versus a smartphone. We all know how the world has changed. That's what generative AI will do to the AI itself. Right? Exactly these problems are going to happen, and it's going to go after those things.
See, the thing is, the AI, there is a power of scale, right? Which is, always humans, we have imagination, creativity, but power of computation in scale is never our capability, right? We never. And when we have lot of brains together, we don't synchronize. We cannot have 100 people synchronized thinking in the same way. It's impossible, right? That is something with the AI we can do. For example, we will tell one case which I'm pretty sure that all of you would have experienced. For example, there is in one of our customer places, what we did is they want to start working on a protein. And on that protein, they want to do that research. But there is probably 500 papers published on that protein over the history. And average you take 100 page, right? Then 500 into 100, you get 50,000, right? It is humanly not possible for one researcher to study 50,000 page and put something in 2 months. What we have put with generative AI technology, where it will go, you put that one protein, it is reading the 50,000 pages and it is giving a 2-page synopsis within a few minutes, which is impossible. So now what is you are getting with generative AI, the 50,000 page of wisdom with 80% to 90% accuracy in 2 page. Right? Now your wisdom is going to still, you are only going to make the vision. This was not possible before. We had all the content, we digitized, the content was there, but we networked also. All that was there. In one window you can also search, but you cannot search like one keyword, it will give 10,000 pages. But reading 10,000 pages and giving a synopsis of that was not available. That is something AI is doing. Definitely there is going to be huge value on it.
I agree.
Thank you.
I agree.
That is the most used case available, summarization.
Yeah, lawyers.
I'm just conscious of the time that
I'll leave.
We have a flight to catch. So we'll just last closing remarks from your side while we'll continue with the conversation with the others.
No, to my mind, I like the point which Lokesh just now said that with Gen AI, the real capability of AI would now come. So to me, I think perhaps, so you did the last thing on 30th
November.
So, and
yes,
on that day I said that 30th November, a year prior to that, which was 2022, there's a day when actually all of us saw ChatGPT for the first time. When that thing comes up, that will enhance. Otherwise, AI would have remained in labs. Yes. But Gen AI has made each one of us, our children, neighbors, everyone is using AI today. Yeah. I think that's the power. And to answer your question, I think now is the time. And the second piece is the technology has advanced so much And not just a normal technology. I know one of the startups I work for is on quantum computing. Even over there, the amount of work. So all this data can now be analyzed. The last piece I'll just say on the earlier point was that do we really need so much data, and do we, on the complexity? To my mind, if you have less data, a simple data will give you only simple answers to simple problems. But if you can analyze so much data, you'll actually get the precision thing which he rightly spoke about. And that's what is required. That's the power of AI, Gen AI, which is there.
Yeah, in my opinion, AI is like the library. Yes. Right? Gen AI is the librarian who has read all the books in the library. Yes. Thank you, Vijay. Thank you very much. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause to Vijay. Thank you, Vijay. Thank you, Umesh. Fantastic having both of you together with us. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, please continue. Otherwise,
I think on the point around whether some of these challenges are solvable or not, right? So I think if anything that the thousands of years of human civilization has taught us is there is no problem which we can't solve. Given a certain amount of time, every problem is solvable. A few years ago, we probably could not fathom going outside of our galaxy, right? But so, I think AI, Gen AI, all of these are tools which help us to accelerate that. So I feel any particular problem is solvable, and Gen AI gives us the tool to do that faster.
No, fantastic. You know, there was one point that actually got discussed earlier. I'm going to bring that point up for, get some opinions from you. Is the bias side of AI, right? And especially if you look at the life sciences vertical, it has long, far-reaching consequences. Responsible development of AI, ethical AI has a big role to play when it comes to life sciences as a vertical. Would like to have your perceptions, point of views, and also some of the audience members around this, please. Bhupesh, we'll start with you.
So as technology custodians, we actually are very focused that right from the design stage of a model to deploy, train, and then productionize it, the data that we use has to be non-IP and non-patent. That is the primary thing. Plus in life sciences, explainability is a very important aspect of it. Where did this summary and this output come from? Which page of the document, where was it? So that is very important. So explainability is another big thing that is very important in life sciences. Plus the big thing, as you said, power. If AI picks up at the pace that we are estimating, it will consume the entire power available. And hence responsible AI comes into picture, where we can't just blow up the earth just to drive AI into a specific direction and pace that we want. And hence necessary steps have been taken. And that was the conference that happened. That's the thing that came out. It has to be green, it has to be made of renewable stuff so that it doesn't kill other things just to drive the AI initiatives. That's what the observations that we have.
I agree. I think checks and balances will have to be all throughout the life cycle, right? Right at the places. So preventive care, that means things are not going wrong, but we can't just be satisfied by that. We will have to bring explicit checks that will constantly check whether whatever is happening is really responsible. We can't assume that both will have to be done.
Yeah, and I think governance has to keep pace with technology, right? So I think as Bhupesh mentioned, explainability is something which is very important in life sciences. You need to have an audit trail. So I think governments have a part to play, regulators have a part to play, and you can't have technology developing independently of governance, right? So I think they have to go hand in hand.
Sure. Amongst the audience, we also have a representation from global pharmaceutical life sciences companies who have centers in India. I would like to touch over a point on India's ability to innovate for the global markets, for the global big companies. If you may just get some reactions on that as well, and how are you looking at AI from a global standpoint, not only from an India standpoint? Maybe you've ran the Merck, Merck business for some time. Just help us with that.
My voice is audible, I can speak as it is.
No, mic, please.
Yeah, thank you. I think I keep repeating this word very often.
as a country, we are at an influx point. Whatever we have seen till date is what was from the past. But the life sciences ecosystem, or even the pharmaceuticals ecosystem, is evolving, in my perspective, pretty dramatically. And a testimony to that is, I was telling this to someone yesterday and today, the number of GCCs which are being set up in India. Now, generally one would associate a capability center more with back-end data work, but that's not the reality. I have been witnessed to some of the changes that are happening where the global capacity centers are not actually doing data entry work. They are doing hardcore R&D. Someone asked me today, your company has it put up any R&D center in India because you are driven from global? I said global drug discovery R&D center is in India. And they said, no, I don't. When did this happen? I said, hold on, it doesn't have hardcore life science scientists working on a living sample. It's by using AI. We have drug discovery center in Bangalore for healthcare facility. They employ PhDs and whatsoever to do drug discovery by using artificial intelligence. And that's, I think, the in thing in future. If I can relate to it, slowly companies are getting away with animal houses. Many of us know this because there are a lot of ethical issues coming up and the globe is coming very strong on avoiding animals, and Indian pharma companies itself are facing challenges today when they have to sell their products outside. There's a lot of restrictions coming up. So there are investments now coming deeply into using artificial intelligence and machine learning to do drug discovery. And it will not be far off to say a new drug will be launched purely by using technology at the forefront rather than using human beings or animals or guinea pigs or whatsoever. So this drug discovery center in Bangalore, a few years ago, we started as a very small one with around 50 or 60 people in it. The aim is by around another 2-3 years to have a 600 or 700 strong R&D scientists working from that facility, driving drug discovery for healthcare business. This is one example. We have also seen examples of other companies, pharma companies or life sciences companies, putting up capacity centers in India to drive global innovation. There are many such companies, not just in life sciences. I have seen this even in plastics. I have seen it in, I have been a vendor to Shell. I have been a vendor to Sabic. These are all companies where I have seen how the Indian ecosystem is being used to drive global innovation. So my understanding so far in the place where I have been working, it's no more going to be called back-end capability center. These are going to be front runners who will in turn empower the global organizations, and what will help us is the diverse population of this country. I was again sharing this with someone today. I said, look, any good pharma company or life sciences company would like to work on an Indian model because this country has a very complex genomic diversity. The northeastern part of India has got no relation with the southern part of India when it comes to its genomic composition. There's such a diversity, and what works there doesn't work on the other side. So it's a mind-boggling subject for anyone who's getting into research. And this is what is going to make India an interesting piece of center for many companies from abroad. They will say that if this can work in this complexity, I think we can take it out from here and implement it somewhere else. And that's what I believe should also be the area where Agilisium should focus, actually.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you very much. Yes, CJ.
I'm here. Thank you. So, great to hear. This is CJ Everest Group. So, Sandy, with your permission, I'd just like to connect the 2 points around, you were talking about bias and you spoke about diversity, right? And I think there's a very interesting point there, right? How, if you think of bias, right, where does bias come from? Where does data bias come from, right? Bias doesn't come from the machine, right? Bias comes from human beings. Bias comes from the data that we human beings created, right? And how we have interpreted it, right? So many of you would have heard of a famous, the famous example of where US prisons used AI to predict whether an offender would be a repeat criminal or not, right? And what it, and that decided whether they would parole somebody or not, right? And what the AI program threw out turned out to be shockingly biased, right, against ethnic minorities, right? And there is a reason for it. The reason is that data was over 50 years when society was far more discriminatory towards ethnic minorities, right? And naturally, those communities lived on the margins of society and ended up, becoming more prone to following a criminal career, right? Now, the AI doesn't care about the bigger picture, about the social norms that have changed, etc., etc. It just looks at data, right, and pushes that out, right? So the question is, right, we all have those kind of situations of data bias in the equivalent of those situations, maybe not as severe in our own industries, right? And the question is, how do we manage that? Because the machine won't manage it, right? And one of the tricks there is, how do you get people, our teams, to be as diverse and as broad-minded so that they can connect those dots beyond just, one thing, right? And that is not the job of an individual. It is the job of different people who think in very different ways, right? And if we can get our teams to function collectively together to identify those kind of biases, right, then we are able to tackle some of those issues, right? Now, I'll say something which will probably be a little bit unpopular, right? So one of the things that I see in a lot of Fortune companies, large American or European corporations, is we have an AI ethics committee, right? We have a highly qualified expert ethics committee. We have 5 white men in the AI ethics committee, all of whom worked in Wall Street for the last 30 years, right? What are you going to get, right? What are you going to get out of it, right? So, but I trust that we have a slightly different point of view, right, in our industries and particularly in India, because you cannot have that concentration. It's just not possible the way we are as a country, right? So my one appeal to everybody in this room would be, when you are building teams, when you are building teams who manage AI, who run AI, who build AI, right? Think of that as an angle. Are you getting people who think differently? Are you getting people who come from different backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, etc., right? Because that's a powerful, if invisible way, right, of managing some of the risks. Thank you.
Thank you, CJ. Thank you. While how much ever I would like this conversation to go on, I think we have flights to catch. We need to bring this to a closure. But before we do that, I would like to have a closing remarks from each one of you, starting with you, please. Maybe a continuation, because you come from the same company. Whether you agree to him or you don't. So you have no choice. That's the bias.
He thinks he agrees with me.
I think to the point where we were ending the discussion, right, about the role India can play. So I think we've moved from a world of labor arbitrage to talent arbitrage, right? Where we are no longer going and hiring people because going to locations because of cost, right? We're going to locations because of talent. And when we talk about AI, or whenever we talk about other similar new technologies, one of the biggest challenges has always been availability of talent, right? So even in our research that we have done on AI, the lack of skilled professionals was, I think, probably the number 3 challenge that executives across different industries highlighted. So I think it clearly goes to show that now companies will follow where talent is. And I think we are blessed to have a lot of talent. We are blessed to have talent which is trained in technology and large volumes of talent pool as well. So I think in addition to the fact that there is a lot of potential and the fact that, again, we're only scratching the surface, we're going to need we're going to need people who are skilled in technology and in domain. Right? And I think that is what India has to offer. It's a big life sciences hub and it's a big technology hub.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much, Fish.
Yeah. So yes, basically we have just taken 3 steps for the marathon. It has just started. We have long way to go. India's role in global, many of the tech partners are building solutions, Gen AI solutions for the world. Just that India doesn't have that ecosystem evolved yet, where it doesn't get consumed here, but they are building it for the world. It's about time that government also does something about it. Like they introduce ABHA, they can do something about life sciences regulatory things also, so that most of the things get done here and are taken as a priority. So that's my view.
No, absolutely, and Agilisium today has taken that step on making Atlas an industry forum, funding it by $1 million, so that we are now no longer talking about where will I get funds from to actually go ahead and do this co-innovation for the world. So to your point, it's an ecosystem journey that has already been started. It's now, it's incumbent for all the stakeholders to come together and walk this path along with the Agilisium team. Thank you, Bhupesh. Lukesh.
Thanks. I think you've just covered all of it. Collaboration would give faster results for us than the competition part of it, and I think this is just a phenomenal step towards that. We believe in collaboration. Let's make it happen.
Awesome, brilliant. So AI or human?
Human.
Human. Human or AI?
No, AI.
AI? Human or human?
Human backed by AI.
So one superpower if you wanted to have, Bhupesh, one superpower, AI superpower if you wanted to have, what would that be?
Yeah, might be reading 50,000 documents and summarizing it.
Okay, okay. What's the superpower that you want?
Avoid sickness.
Avoid sickness. Yeah. Yes.
So I think I would say making it easier for people to navigate the healthcare ecosystem, right? I think we get a lot of bad rep. So if you look at polls, healthcare, life sciences usually at the bottom of trust or yes,
yeah,
right? So, and I think a lot of there are multiple factors, right? But I think some of it is also to do with how complex these ecosystems can become to navigate. So yeah, the superpower would be if we can help people navigate this entire complex ecosystem.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, please big a round of applause to our panel members. It was a privilege. It was a privilege to host you all. Learned a lot, I'm sure. The audience did as well. And thank you very much for an interactive session from everyone in the audience as well. This means a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Back to you, Aishwarya.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, panelists, Chunky, Lokesh, Bhupesh.